Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to start the second part of this chapter number 7, that is producer behavior in microeconomics. So I said to you people that microeconomics deals with the individual behavior of consumer and producer. And we completed the individual study of the consumer behavior, how consumer was able to maximize the total utility by within his income and given prices of the goods he is consuming. Okay, now we are moving towards the second part of the microeconomics, that is about producer behavior. So what are the aims of the producer and how will he be able to achieve those aims within economic scenario? We will be analyzing the producer behavior in detail. The rest of the chapter number 7, that will be more about the producer. We have completed one part of this chapter, the consumer behavior. Now the rest of the chapter will be focusing on the behavior of the producer. We will be studying the theory of the firm, and then we will be studying different types of market structures, which will be analyzing the different behaviors of producers in different market conditions. So right now I'm starting from the basics of this producer behavior. Now, what do you think? What are the aims of the producers? What are the aims of the producer? The economic aims. I'm talking about the economic aims. There can be the other aims. Okay. Now the first aim is to maximize profit. He wants to produce the goods and services in order to maximize the profit. Okay, profit can be the risk of any economic activity, the production activity in which the producer or entrepreneur combines all factors of production and then takes the risk of profit. So his aim is to profit maximize. And second aim is to minimize the cost of production. Minimize the cost of production. So keep it in mind, if he is able to minimize the cost, definitely his gap between total revenue and total cost will be maximized, and his aim of profit maximization can be achieved if and only he is able to minimize the cost of production. And if he is unable to minimize or to control the cost of production, then he cannot be able to maximize the profit of his economic activity. So producer, his economic aim is again to optimize, and what he is going to optimize? He is optimizing the profit. He wants to maximize the producer's profit by using his methods of production and reducing the cost of production. Now, what is meant by the production function? First of all, we are going to study the production function. Production is the function of factors of production. Here I say the quantity produced is denoted by Q. Now this quantity which is going to be produced by producer, that is the function of factors of production. And what are those factors of production which are used by the producer? They are like this: land he is using, the raw material, labor he is using, and capital. These three factors of production are used by any producer, any entrepreneur in order to produce the goods and services. So land covers the area where production will take place and all the raw materials which are extracted from the piece of land. And labor includes all types of what? Human resources, like physical services and mental services. They will be used by the producer in order to produce output. And capital, we all know, that is a man-made resource which is required by the producer in order to produce the goods and services. So we say the capital is the man-made resource. So we have, if if producer is increasing these inputs, these are actually the inputs of the production function. If he is increasing these inputs, definitely his output will also be increasing. So the inputs, when they are increased, they are going to increase the production. So we can say the inputs are combined with the help of a technology to produce output. So here producer is incurring the cost. When he is using the inputs, he is incurring the cost. He has to make the payments to these factors of production, whereas this area will generate revenue for the producer. So when revenue is exceeding the cost of production, his aim of profit maximization will be achieved. So I say when producer is going to produce the quantity, he is using these inputs, and these inputs will be rewarded in the form of their monetary, in terms of monetary, in terms of money, like landowner will be paid rent, whereas labor will be paid wages and salaries, and capital owner will be paid the interest by the use of the capital. So all these factors of production, when they are paid, whatever is left over from the revenue, that will be the profit of the producer or entrepreneur. So now we are going to study what are the different types of, production function. Types of production function. This is what production. Now what are the different types of production function? Types of production function. Now one is called the short run production function. Short run production function. What do you mean by short run? If you remember, in our AS level, we had defined it, production function. And second is called the long run production function. Short run is a production function in which at least one factor of production is kept fixed. At least one. At least one factor of production is kept constant and others are variable. So first of all, I say short run production function. Here at least one factor of production is kept constant. There can be more than one, but at least one, and others are variable. Therefore, the producer can produce more output in short run by changing the variable factors of production, because fixed factors cannot be altered. I say land and capital are fixed. Here I take land and capital and labor. If we take capital and land fixed, then production will be the function of land is usually kept fixed, capital and labor, and if capital is also fixed, we say production is function of labor now. If we are changing the number of workers or increasing their working hours, then quantity produced will also be changing. If we are increasing the number of workers present in our production unit, so definitely they will be able to produce more output. And if we are asking them to do overtime, the same number of workers, now they are rendering more number of hours to produce output, and same thing will happen, that their output level will increase, their productivity can also increase. So in that case, we say a production function in which the producer can vary the level of output by changing the variable factor of production, and fixed factors are not going to be changed. So that production function is called a short run production function. What it is? A short run production function is that in which production can be changed by changing the variable factors of production. Okay. Now come towards the long run production function. What do we mean by long run production function? If you remember, long run means when all the factors of production are variable. Okay. We cannot say that it is only a 1 year time, 2 years time, or 3 years time. We say whenever a firm is able to have all the factors of production variable. So it is now all factors like land, labor, and capital. They are all now variable. Nothing is kept fixed. So in long run, what happens? In long run, all the factors of production are variable. Therefore, the production can be changed by all these factors of production. Therefore, the production can be increased due to all of the factors of production in long run. Nothing is kept fixed. Capital size has also increased, land size has also increased, labor is already variable. So we say when all factors of production become variable, then we say this is called a long run production function. Now, what are the different terms which are used in economics, in microeconomics, to analyze the producer behavior, how producer is going to show us his behavior in economics or in microeconomics? So the first thing which we are going to do, that is, we are using some of the terminology, some of the variables which will be studied in our next lessons, and after that we will be able to understand them and they will be helpful in analyzing the producer behavior. So different things like what is meant by total physical product, total physical product, and what is meant by marginal physical product, marginal physical product. And what is meant by average physical product. So we say this is total physical product, this is marginal physical product, and this is average physical product. Physical means the tangible output is produced. We are not talking about the services, we are talking about the tangible output which is produced by the factors of production, that is called the total physical product, marginal physical product, or average physical product. That's why we are using the word physical product. So total means the total output produced by, suppose we say we are using 100 workers to produce output. So how much total output is produced by those 100 workers? That is called the total physical product of all those workers which are employed. Okay. So if I talk about marginal physical product, it tells us marginal means what? Additional or extra. It tells us how much will be the change in total physical product due to change in extra worker. It is additional output due to an additional worker. If we talk about marginal physical product of labor, then it is called the additional output produced by an additional worker. And if we say this is marginal physical product of capital, then definitely this is the total change in total output due to an additional unit of capital. So right now we are talking about labor, so it is marginal physical product of labor. Now what is meant by average physical product? This is per worker output. If we say this is the average physical product of labor, it can be found by dividing the total physical product to the total number of workers. So we say total physical product means what? Total physical product, it means the total output produced. I say this is the total physical product of labor. Total means the total output produced by all the workers in a given time period. Workers in a given time period. Does not mean we are talking about total output of every time. We say suppose in one day, in a week, how much total output is produced, or in a month. So first of all, we are now in the short run. So we are measuring total physical product in short run. So this is called the total output produced by all the workers. If I say there are 100 workers, I say we take the labor, and here we take the total physical product. If there are 10 workers and they have produced 1000 units or maybe 100 units, we say this is the total output produced by all these 10 workers. So this is called total physical product, which is produced by all those workers in the production unit. Now, what is meant by the marginal physical product of labor? This is total physical product. Now, what is marginal physical product of labor? This is called change in total physical product, change in total physical product due to change in labor. Or we say it is additional output, additional or extra output due to an extra worker. So this is the marginal physical product of labor. We say this is additional output due to an additional worker. And I say when labor is 100, we had produced 1000. When labor was 10, total number of workers 10 were employed, and 1000 units of output were produced. Now 11th worker is added. So if total output moves on 1050, so what is the marginal physical product of this extra worker? That is 50. He increased the total output by 50 units. So this is the additional output produced by an additional worker. If we are adding up extra worker into our production unit, how much total output will be changing due to that extra worker? That is called marginal physical product of labor. Now, what is meant by average physical product? We can use the same area where average physical product is written. Average physical product, this is also in a given time period. We say average physical product means total physical product of labor over total labor. We say in a given time period, per period of time, per period of time. This is also very important, period of time, because it is also called per worker output or productivity of labor. So it is total output produced by total number of workers. It is per worker output per period of time. Per period of time. It shows the productivity of labor. Like if I say the total workers, they had produced 1000 units. Average physical product is now 1000 number of outputs are produced, units are produced by 10 workers. How much is total productivity? each worker has produced 100 units on average. This is called per worker output. We are not considering which worker has increased or produced more than 100 units or less than 100, but on average we say this is their per worker output. We have employed 10 workers and their total output is now 1000 units in a given time period, suppose in a week or in a day. So we say each worker on average has produced 100 units. This is called the productivity of worker. So it may vary due to the addition of an extra worker. Right now, these 11 workers, they have produced 1050 units of output. So if we divide 1050 by 11, that will give us the productivity of each worker when 11 workers are employed. So, okay, it is now about, it shows the per worker output in a given time period. So it also shows the productivity of labor. So it can be increased by education, by training, by experience, so by skill level. So productivity of workers on average, that can be increased by using different types of techniques adopted by the producers. Like there are certain training sessions arranged by the producers in order to improve the productivity of those workers who are involved, or sometimes they adopt new technology in their production unit. So by that they will be able to change the productivity as well. As new machinery is adopted, new technological advancements, they are increasing the productivity of labor as well. Why are they increasing? Because those workers who are able to operate, those who know how to use that technology, definitely their productivity will be increasing. So today we have started our lesson from producers' behavior, how microeconomics will be dealing in studying the producers' aims and how these aims are achieved. There are two aims of producers. One is to maximize profit and another is to minimize the cost of production. Actually, there is a single aim to maximize the profit. Whenever producers are able to reduce their cost of production, ultimately their profit will be maximized. So how production is taking place? By using the factors of production. If producer is using more factors of production, definitely more output will be produced. And if he is using less factors of production, less output will be produced. So factors of production, they are called the inputs. The producer has to pay their rewards in terms of money, like wages, rent, interest. They are paid by the producers to those factors of production. And then whatever is left over, that will be the profit of the entrepreneur or producer. Now, what are different types of production functions? We have studied two main types. There can be others, but in our syllabus, we are finding two of them. That is short-run production function and long-run production function. During the short run, what happens? We have at least one factor of production fixed and others are variable. Therefore, output can be changed by changing the variable factors of production, like labor is usually kept variable. So we can increase the number of workers to increase output level, or we ask them to do the overtime. If their working hours are increased, so definitely the output will also be increasing. So in long run, what happens? We have all the variable factors of production, nothing is kept fixed. So whenever all factors of production have become variable, that is a time period. We say this is the long run time period. And later on, we studied three of the definitions. One is called total physical product of labor. What is this? The total physical product of labor. The total output produced by all the number of workers employed in the production unit, that is called total physical product in a given time period. And marginal physical product shows us the additional output produced by an additional worker or extra worker, that is marginal physical product. And what is average physical product? That is per worker output. How it can be calculated? by dividing the total physical product to the total number of workers in a given time period. That tells us the productivity of labor in the production unit. So it can be the productivity of labor. If it is increasing, it will reduce the per unit cost of production, and ultimately the profit will also be maximized. So up till now we have studied a few things, and in our next lesson I will be giving you demonstration about law of diminishing returns in production. So how this law is analyzing the productivity, average product of labor and marginal product of labor in our, when one factor of production is fixed, that is capital. So we'll be studying in detail the law of diminishing returns, law of diminishing returns in production in our next class. So I think if you have any questions, you can ask me now in our question answering session. But keep it in mind, by the next week, inshallah, before Eid, we'll be fulfilling some of the topics related to production. And then after Eid, we will be having the new sessions of the theory of farm, inshallah. Thank you. It is all about today. Thank you very much.